Okay, welcome everybody to Friday Coffee. I'm so glad that you're here today to join with us. I'm from the chamber. I'm gonna make sure the PowerPoint is moving. There we go. Thought we'd start off this day. Happy Veterans Day to you. We have the veterans in with us today or on Zoom. We thank you for your service and we thank you all year round at Veterans Day. If you want to stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First off, I want to thank our sponsors for today, the library, as well as Cumulus. Glad to have you here today. Just a few housekeeping notes, and we do, if you are joining us on Zoom, I hope that you are muted just to prevent background noise. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat, or we will ask you to unmute yourself when we do introductions. And at the end, if you have an announcement. So we try and keep it pretty informal. Hope that you participate with us if you're joining on Zoom. So with that, introductions. Claudia, do you want to go ahead and start?
I'm Claudia Young, I'm the director of the library, which is next door, and we're closed today in honor of veterans.
Rebecca Brown, Chamber.
Lori Fix with the chamber.
Bob Gilbert with Bartlett and West. Mark Millsap, East Tribune.
Sharon Knott.
Tom Knott.
I'm Trisha Barnes. I'm with Blue Sky Restoration Contract.
Jose Ramos, Neill Love Services LLC.
I'm Linda McNamee. I'm retired.
Fennel.
Good morning, Michelle Weaver, Cumulus Media.
Cindy Schneiders.
I'm Christopher Scott with Farmers Insurance.
Alex Bobbitt, Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Frank Reisig, Eugene Rotary.
Allie Hedman with Public Health. Kira Johnson, as the cover for the State Foundation nonprofit.
Gary Plummer with the Chamber.
Mike Lester, City Council Ward 2.
And Jay Moore with Chamber staff. Nate Griffith, Sheriff City.
And on Zoom, Rebecca, how many folks do we have joining on Zoom? Anybody?
4.
Okay, so we'll ask you to unmute yourself and introduce.
Good morning, Stu Murphy.
Good morning, Ron Fitzwater, Missouri Pharmacy Association and Jefferson City Council.
Ashley Timmy with the chamber staff.
That's good. Okay. Well, I would like to welcome new members, and we might have a few new members on here from last month also, because you might recall last month in lieu of this Friday Coffee this time, we had a State of the City and the County luncheon. It was a great event. Gary and the Government Relations Committee put that on. So this represents 2 months of new members: Core Family Dentistry, Eagle Enterprise, Titan Digital, Gibbons Workman, Macadoodles, Fine Wine, Beer and Spirits, Frank Rushmeyer Masonry, Show Me State Airfare, Kindle's Towing, and DR Horton Homes. So if you see any of these folks, welcome into the chamber. I don't think anyone is from this list is joining us today, but we're glad to have them as new members. Look forward to have them be involved. Oh, Carrie, we kind of did the introductions, and I don't know that you need an introduction. So you want
Hi, Carrie Turgeon, Mayor of Jefferson City, and I'll have to sneak out to the Blue Star dedication.
All right.
Thank you, and happy Veterans Day.
Okay, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our program, and I'm going to apologize if we talked about this. I'm so sorry. We have Natalie Newville as the presenter, and it is actually Claudia. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Claudia.
That's okay. I am Claudia, and I am here to talk about the library and stand up. I always am proud of the library's literacy roots. We will always have books. So the last few years, we've talked a lot about that we're so much more than books. And as a book reader and a librarian, sometimes I struggle with that just because I like you, I think of the library, I think of books. but I also want you to remember that we have a lot of additional services. We have programs for all ages. We have a full-service computer/business center in our basement. And we provide things that you might not know about. We're gonna show you one of those services this morning on the video. But first, we also register people to vote and provide free notary services. And the service that we're going to highlight this morning is our one-on-one tech times, where an IT professional will sit down with you and work through your tech problems. You can meet as well. We don't have a limit on how many times you can meet a month, unless you would perhaps abuse it. But anyway, you can meet with an IT professional and have some help. And that's exactly what this video is all about, that I'm gonna share with you. It's a really special story. And with that, we'll go ahead and play it. So
You got the clicker there.
oh, you wanna have the clicker?
I'm sure, I'll advance it for you, okay. So you spoke about more than just books, so
Yes.
some of those great services you just talked about.
Okay, you know what, I can go ahead and speak to this. I didn't realize this was going to be here. So, you all know that we have a bookmobile, and it still services the area, not to the extent that it did at one time, but we have 10 to 12 stops a month. We also now have library lockers, and these lockers are lockers where you can access materials that you put on hold from the library. And when you're ready and want to go pick them up, you can do so. We have one out at the Capitol Mall, and so it's available during Capitol Mall hours. And then we have a couple in Osage County, and the Cole County Commission has just given us some ARPA funds to put some out in the county to expand library services. And so looking for some business partners to place smaller lockers for material pickup. So that's one of the things we found with the bookmobile. So many times, whenever we were in a community, it wasn't convenient. And so these lockers make library access more convenient. We bring materials to you. We also have a branch down in Osage. Sometimes people here in Jefferson City forget that the library does serve Cole and Osage County. I don't have the clicker. We have to, yes, okay. Let's see what's on the side. Oh, maybe it's the video, right? This is the video I was talking about. I didn't touch anything.
I apologize, no audio on Zoom.
We're she's adjusting the audio on the Zoom. The Zoom folks are. Oh, for the video?
Yeah.
He was a member of the community, even long after he could no longer use technology. Well, he would talk about Nikki and coming to the library. And if we drove past here, he always would point that out. And so it made a big difference in his life.
He would come in and we would learn something new every day. And he would come in and he would sort of just hang out with the staff, and we would all speak to him slowly and sort of joke around, and he would talk back, and we were very patient. You know, when he had a little bit of trouble speaking, we just acted like we didn't even notice, and he was just a really cool guy to hang out with too. I think it speaks volumes to, you know, what you always hear, that libraries are more than just books. But a lot of people don't really see how much more we can be, or we already are.
The library isn't just books, which surprised even me at that time when I was looking for stuff for Mike. And Nikki never made it hard. He never came home saying he felt stupid or, you know, he was less than. She was his friend, and the library was his place to go. He loved that, and he loved coming to the library. Loved it.
A really special story, and that training and relationship went on for about 3 years. So I would venture to guess that most of you are maybe surprised that we do that sort of training at the library. And so I hope I've shared something new with you today, and that you will share that with a friend who might need some assistance. So.
Okay, and I think we have a door prize.
Door prize. Library stand. Shall we?
Michelle.
Good job. The library is having a book sale on the main floor this weekend. We have so many donations for the big Knights of Columbus sale in March that we have to sell some throughout the year. So we have the main floor set up with a little kind of boutique book sale. So if you're out and about this weekend and need some reading for the winter, please stop by and buy some books.
All right. Okay. Got it. Good.
Thank you.
By the way, I just want to add, you all do an outstanding job. We are so fortunate to have our library in this community, but also the staff, and they do amazing things. So thank you.
It's our pleasure. It's my life's passion, and our staff is incredibly dedicated. I couldn't do it by myself, so you're right. I hire great people, and they're doing some amazing things, and they care about the services that we provide. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia.
Okay, another sponsor, Michelle, you were just up there. I want to mention briefly, we appreciate your sponsorship, but your business or organization can be a sponsor too. We are filling the sponsors for 2023. Michelle, do you want to talk with them a little bit about the sponsorship partnership we have?
News Media, you may be familiar when you see our logos there. We have 7 radio stations and some digital products as well. So when we sponsor the Friday Coffee, now Claudia and I will have to sit down and wrote some notes with a little tagline, library more than just books. We can have together craft a 30-second radio ad. We'll have 25 ads to run on one of our radio stations. So yeah, it's kind of a neat little sponsorship. Besides being here, you get to advertise with us.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Some announcements quickly before we get into the program. November 16th is Social Media Forum. And if Natalie was here, she would probably announce this better than I do. She and Kenny are going to be presenting a program next Wednesday at 8 o'clock in this room. And it's brew can do it too. How Starbucks succeeds with social. So I typed that and I was like, did I do that right? Brew can do it too. So find out more about that if you come to the social media forum. It's always very informative and entertaining. They do a great job. And we appreciate them so much for that. Another event we have coming up for networking, and it is next week on the 17th from 4 to 5:30. It's at the Water Tower Bar and Grill, our Chamber Connections. And Trisha with Blue Sky Restoration is our sponsor. We appreciate you for sponsoring that. And I'm sure you'll be there. We'll be registering for door prizes and passing out business cards. So thank you for that. So that is Thursday, November 17th from 4 to 5:30. The prayer breakfast, Ashley is online on Zoom. Do you want to talk to me about this, Ashley? And maybe Ashley is not anymore. She introduced herself. The prayer breakfast, the 43rd annual prayer breakfast. I mean, if you raise your hand, everyone in this room has gone to the prayer breakfast. I mean, you don't want to miss this event. It is a wonderful way to kick off the holiday season and be grateful and thankful for all the blessings that we have in our life and in this country. Our presenting sponsor is Legends Bank, and we're happy to have Senator Mike Burns together there again as another sponsor. This is hosted by the Cole County Communities Committee. Raise your hand if you're on the Cole County Committee. Yes, it's a great event that they do. So you can get tickets for that. That is on Wednesday, November 23rd at 7 a.m. at the Missouri Farm Bureau. So, and I think if you were I think there are probably tickets here. If they want to buy their tickets before they leave, she can help you do that. So. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Gary because he is going to introduce our special guest today.
Thank you very much, Susan. Yeah, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker. We reached out to him recently and said, hey, this falls on Veterans Day. We can't think of a better advocate for veterans in our state than Representative Dave Griffith. They've accepted our invitation to be here. I know he has a very full schedule today, and so we appreciate you making this part of your day, Representative. And congratulations, by the way, to Representative Griffith. He was just reelected to another term. Thank you for being with us.
All right, well, thank you, Gary. Thanks for the invitation. And I wrote what I wanted to say. I wrote it out because if you let me just talk off the cuff, we'll be here for an hour. I do want to stay focused, and it truly is an honor to be able to talk to you today. As I was preparing what I was going to say and kind of thinking back, I think this is the 7th Veterans Day in a row that I've spoken in summer. And so it truly is an honor to be able to do that. But today and every Veterans Day, I want to encourage us to remember all veterans who have served. Veterans, for many of those that did not serve in the combat zone, they don't feel like they're veterans. And that really is one of the farthest things from the truth. Because what we who were in combat, we could not have done what we did without those support people who were behind us. Do we have any veterans with us today? Thank you for your service. When men and women, we serve our country, and we took an oath. And last week at the Operation Bugle Boy, Colonel Jack Jackson did something that I do every Veterans Day in every speech that I give. And I want to share that with you. We took an oath, and I'd like to share that. I, David Griffith, so solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. Every veteran, every man and woman that served our country raised their hands and they made that same that pledge and that allegiance. And for many of us who wore the uniform, that was not just an oath that we took while we were wearing the uniform. It's an oath that we carry on for the rest of our lives. We should honor all who serve, but it's important because even though many of those military volunteers were drafted did not serve in a combat zone, the work that they did to support us never could be measured or appreciation for. Support troops behind the lines were just as crucial to mission delivery to the soldiers of the front lines and beyond the wire and down the range. My service was in the Army. I served in the 8th Special Forces Repair Corps. In my military occupation service, or MOS, was 05 Bravo West, or a radio operator. When I enlisted, I signed up to be a combat medic, and like most Special Forces soldiers, we were cross-trained to be effective operators. My medical background could be invaluable in combat situation if we came under fire and our medic needed assistance with those who were wounded. In order to wear the Green Beret, there was some additional training that we had to complete. First of it was airborne school, or jump school. This 3-week course was comprised of ground week, tower week, and jump week. Each week in the process gave us the skills to jump out a perfect good airplane on purpose. And it took 5 initial jumps all. Over the course of my tour of Special Forces, I completed over 60 jumps, and the highest was from 25,000 feet, which is known as the halo jump, or high altitude level. After completing jump school, I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare School, where I learned what unconventional warfare was all about, and to acquire my new MOS, which was to be a radio operator. I spent 16 weeks learning Morse code and how to operate a single sideband radio, or PRC 25, or AM PRC 77 in combat situations. The MOS training was known as Phase 2, and Phase 3 was field training at Camp McCall, where we put our skills that we learned into practice under combat situations. Upon graduating from this school, I was assigned to the 8th Special Forces Repair Corps, and then to Fort Myers, Virginia, to take Spanish language course because the 8th was located in the Panama Canal. Most Special Forces operators are language qualified so that we could work with the indigenous people to teach them and train them to defend their own country against their enemies. I can speak Spanish. I can speak Spanish still. When I graduated, I was fluent. I could read and write in Spanish. Matter of fact, when I was in Panama, I had a Panamanian girlfriend who spoke no English at all. So that was our main means of communication. And on a side note, I can say that in Panama, they had was kind of what we call Pig Latin here in the United States, which when they wanted to talk about us and they didn't want us to understand, they would talk in their Spanish Pig Latin. Well, after a while, I learned how to understand that and was given away when they were talking about how cute one of my friends was. So then they had to change to another word, trying to fool us. But I can still speak Spanish. I love the way the Mexican restaurants here in town, and they're able to keep up with me, or let me keep up with some of those skills. And my wife and I go to Cancun every year. And while I'm down there, this last time we were down there for a month, I was able to really reconnect with some of that language. But during my tour of Special Forces, I went on 3 missions. 2 were classified, and 1 was a humanitarian mission. Even within Special Forces, we had support personnel that provided us with services that we needed to complete our mission. And although we never said thank you, which in retrospect, we should. Back on my experience, I know that we could not have been successful. We could not have survived had it not been for those soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. So many of you here today, when I was a teenager, we were involved in the Vietnam War. The draft was in full swing. Many of the soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen did not choose to serve, but they, along with those who volunteered to serve, took the same oath to their country. In today's world, we are now actively involved in a military conflict since our departure from Afghanistan, but the threat of future conflict still lingers. So while we do not have a draft, we need to keep for those that same military challenge for our youth and the young people that we have. In every presentation that I make, I talk to them about their service to their country. and what that would mean to them. The experience and maturity that you gain cannot be duplicated anywhere else. And just like college, it's not meant for everybody. But the military is one way that you can serve your country and to grow up. During this time of the year, when we focus on veterans and those who are serving in active duty, I would encourage you to talk to your relatives, your dad, your mom, your grandma, your aunt, your uncle, and have them share their stories with you. For some of us, it's hard to relive those many experiences. And I know this because my dad fought in World War II, in Patton's Army. He survived the Battle of the Bulge, but he never spoke of it. And it could be the reason was because my mother's brother, Uncle Bud, died just before he was to be shipped home. And because of his death, we are a Gold Star family. And I cannot tell you how much I was honored to serve as the chairman of the Gold Star Family Memorial Monument. My co-chair, Sharon. If you haven't been by the monument, I would encourage you to go by there today. Or encourage you to go by there sometime this week. It truly is a moving experience. Some of the things that we have that happen there are some closure for some families. Somebody, I have an idea of who it was, but somebody, when 13 Marines were killed in Afghanistan, somebody took 13 yellow roses and put them on the monument. And for many people, they come to that monument. The stories that they can tell are truly life-changing. On the day that we dedicated that monument, we had a lady in when Governor Kilo and I were standing there talking before we began the ceremony. And this lady came up to us and she said, "I buried my son last week in Arlington." And Mike and I, we had a tear in our eye. We just said, "Look, I don't understand how you can be here. You don't understand what this monument means to me." We can take a lot of pride in having that monument here. It stands as a testimony for those that paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. As far as details for my experience during the time that I served, I can tell you that my family, I thought that my grandkids knew, but I found out last night that my grandkids don't know. So we're gonna sit out on a campfire some night and I'm gonna share those stories with them. Something that needs to be told, but it's something that's hard to tell. One last thought. When you see a man or a woman wearing a Vietnam veteran hat, take a minute to go over to them, say thank you for your service, but also say welcome. And I would also encourage you that every Friday wear red. Thank you for your attention today, for giving me this opportunity to speak. And we must always remember that freedom is not free. All gave some, but some gave all. Thank you. I'll be glad to answer any questions. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer. I will tell you this on the side note that we are working on veteran suicide and mental health issues going on. PTSD and TBI or traumatic brain injury is a real thing. Mental health that we've got in our state and in our country is something that we are going to have to deal with, not only in the veteran community, but in the community as large. And I have legislation that I filed last year that got this close crossing the finish line that really put the onus on the Missouri Veterans Commission to look into veteran suicide and to give a report to the General Assembly every year to let us know what measures they're doing. Director Paul Kirchhoff is his credit, even though the bill did not cross the finish line, pass out of the House, but it did not pass in the Senate. Even though it did not pass, Director Kirchhoff has taken it upon himself to and do a lot of the things that we have in the bill. He's not giving us a report yet, but I'm gonna, that bill, I'm gonna refile in December. We had an interim committee over the summer. We had 3 hearings, and in those hearings, we had some very compelling testimony. We had one gentleman that was at Operation Beagle Boy last week that took a 357 Magnum and put it underneath his chin. He blew his head off, and he survived. He had a number of surgeries, and he told his story. Many of you here in this room know about Canines on the Front Line, Jason House story. During those hearings, Jason and 3 other of his brothers in arms shared their story with us. And to the person, they told us, this is the first time we have told our story. Those stories need to be told. And we're going to get past suicide and a lot of the issues that we have in society with mental illness. We got to bring it to the forefront. We got to talk about it, and so that people understand that mental illness is like any other illness. That if you don't address it, you don't do something about it, bad things can happen. So it truly is an honor to serve as your representative and be an advocate for our veterans and advocate for each one of you as well. So thank you again. I gotta leave, go someplace else.
We appreciate your time, and I'm so glad that you acknowledge Sharon too publicly, because so many of us know, Sharon and her family used to work with so much, so you don't like to be recognized for that, I know, but I'm glad you did.
And she's wearing red.
Yes, she is.
This is really good red here.
Yes.
Okay, and on to our program for today. I'm calling Alex Bobbitt up to join me. You have a flyer there, and I hope that this isn't the first time you've seen this Loveless Local JCMO sticker there. We're going to talk a little bit more about that program. So, and we're crossing our fingers that the video sound works, because Alex has a video too. It's a great video. I hope that she's able to share it with you.
Well, thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you for our veterans for serving our country. Really appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and switch gears. We're going to talk about something a little lighthearted about tourism, and that's going to transition into our revamped JCMO Loveless Local campaign. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, our primary mission is to maximize the positive economic impact of visitor dollars in our community by marketing Jefferson City as a desirable tourism destination. Our office is small but mighty, and we focus on a few select markets. The first one is convention and groups, which is still slowly rebounding from COVID, as you can imagine. Second is sports, and the third is leisure. Now, before we jump into some numbers here, I want to make an important note, and that is the definition of what a tourist is. Industry states that a tourist is somebody that travels 50 miles or more to another destination and will spend money, whether it's shopping, it's eating, it's going to do some fun thing. It could be business or leisure. It's just they're spending money in another destination. And I don't have any nitty-gritty dollar amounts for Jefferson City tourism, but because the Missouri Division of Tourism, or MDT for short, is an industry leader for us, they have an abundant amount of information that I pulled from, so we're just going to look at tourism from a statewide perspective. So first, the tourism industry has provided more than 304,000 jobs. It's generated nearly $18 billion worth of tourism-related spending. It contributes to the overall economic health of the state. Tourism is one of the top industries for Missouri. And, when people are going out and about, their sales in many sectors, and that's lodging, that's airfare, gas, just anything where it's travel related, that is the tourism industry. So not only is it creating sales for them, but it's creating jobs for Missouri residents, as well as contributing tax revenue to local and state governments. And this could be kind of hard to read, so I'm going to keep it really simple, but this is how visitor spending generates an impact, or the multiplier impacts in a community. The first is direct impact, and that is when I go to a hotel and I say, I'm going to book a room for a week. My dollars are going toward the hotel wages and salaries for those staff members. So they're being directly impacted. The second is an indirect impact, and that is when the hotel is working with a supplier or a vendor to help supply me, maybe shampoos, conditioners, lotions, anything that I may have forgotten while I was packing. So therefore, they are indirectly impacted by tourism. And the third is induced impact, and that is at the end of a work period, people will run the hotels or the suppliers are getting their paychecks, and they're going to invest it back into Missouri's economy. Ideally, it's tourism related, but we understand there are other priorities. And because it's a little too early for only numbers, I want to throw in a fun personal experience that I had. This was in Lebanon, Missouri a few weeks ago. I attended a 4-day scrapbooking retreat. I know I look like a scrapbooker, but these ladies do not mess around. And I was sitting right in this little area with my mom and sister-in-law. And so what does that mean? So 600 people come to Lebanon, Missouri, and they're going to be lodging, they're going to be food, shopping, and the civic center to have the event. And so with their dollars, they're going to hotels and their staff members, restaurants, their staff members, the stores, because people need their last minute craft supplies and blankets because it's freakishly cold in there. And then just to, again, have that space and pay for the staff members to help clean up all the scrap paper and glitter and everything that was thrown around during the day. I kid you not, it went from like 9 a.m. until midnight if you wanted to stay there every day. And so again, at the end of the day, the staff members get their paychecks, and we hope that it goes back into Missouri's economy. Again, hoping it's travel, but we get it. And then back to numbers, that was a nice little break. So MBT, they gauge tourism success based on dollar amounts from the North American Industry Classification System, or NAICS codes for short. This is just a standard used by federal agencies for the purpose of collecting, analyzing, publishing data, anything related to the U.S. business economy. MBT focuses on 45 tourism-related NAICS codes, and they can look at statewide and they can look by county. So you can see in FY21, Cole County NAICS spending was more than $153 million worth of tourism-related spending, and it generated 3,600 jobs. So tourism in Cole County is good. And this is, again, hard to read, but this gives you an idea of where Jefferson City kind of sits with other target markets in the state. Of course, we've got Bradenton and the metro areas up top, and then you got Jefferson City that kind of is right in the middle with some other smaller destinations. So there's a friendly competition. We kind of like to duke it out, but at the end of the day, we're all great friends because we know that we just want people to come to Missouri and experience what every region has to offer. Top reasons for visiting Missouri: people are going to visit their friends and family, they're going to do shopping, some little sightseeing, go to museums, and eat. Great thing is Jefferson City already has all of this. Now going back to my point about what a tourist is, which is really important, because prior to COVID, a lot of the promotions that we did for these activities were going to people that were outside of Jefferson City by 50 miles. Therefore, residents of Jefferson City were not seeing what our marketing efforts were. Because of COVID, we had to shift our efforts to be more inward and focus on the local messaging, because our small businesses, our neighbors, everybody was suffering. So therefore, shop local, eat local, support your local neighbors, whatever. So now that COVID's not as big of a situation as it once was, we are starting to go back to our 50-mile radius for promotions, but we realize the importance of still promoting the local messaging. And so with that said, I want to end on a fun little video. Some of you may have seen it, some have not, so I hope you enjoy it. But this is called Junk. It's dubbed, it stands for Just Used in Nostalgic Keepsakes. And you can imagine how fun it was to pitch that idea to local businesses.
Why shop in Jefferson City? We'll show you why.
Because we're full of junk. Jeff's used and nostalgic keepsakes, that is.
We're here to preserve our past.
With historical architectural items from Jefferson City and beyond.
And furniture upcycled with a modern facelift.
Antiques and collectibles, we have them.
Oldie but goodie vinyl records, we've got you covered.
Classic comics to save the day. Not all heroes wear capes.
Whether you're looking for antiques or vintiques, you'll find many curated treasures in Jefferson City.
And inevitably, you'll return for an encore.
Visit the capital city and plan your next shopping trip at visitjeffersoncity.com.
And that's going to lead us
And as you can see, the CBB does a great job of promoting Jefferson City, and they're encouraging guests, tourists to shop, eat, drink in Jefferson City, recreation, all kinds of activities. And you know, it's a great opportunity for us to remind that we need to do those same things. All of that economic impact from the tourists is the same thing if we shop local too. So the chamber decided to get with a shop local campaign, and we would collaborate. So this is what we're asking you to do today, is to join our Facebook group. So you each have a flyer there, and if you put that QR code, will bring you to that Facebook group. But to love JCMO, love what's local, really it is a collaborative campaign between the chamber and the CBB, the area business associations and our media, just to educate people, remind them the importance and the value of shopping locally. Sometimes we just take it for granted. People come and they visit our community and they think it's such a cool place to shop and explore. We need to do those same things, and it's going to benefit everyone. So goods, services, entertainment, it's in Jefferson City, and it's just a positive way for us to remind you to shop local. So as it said, the same thing for tourism. It helps create jobs. It supports our local businesses and our organizations. And of course, there's the benefit of the sales tax dollars that can be used locally. Public safety and city services, the parks, roads and bridges. If the mayor were here, she reminds us of that, the importance of that. And we just really wanted a positive way and a way that the community could come together, and not just the chamber, oh, we need to do this, or the CBB, really wanted everybody to participate in this. And that's why we formed this Facebook group. We encourage you to be interactive. We want you to contribute to it. So by joining, it is JCMO, Love What's Local. And if you just put your phone and hover over that QR code, you can join our group. We launched this on November 1st, and that week, we've done about 3 or 4 of these promotions. We had 148 members. I think we're almost at over 500. If you look at it today, I think it's, hopefully it's 600 after today. So it's growing, and that's what it's about. We need you to participate and to help us. If you post, share your posts, create posts, be an influencer. It helps everyone. Maybe a retail promotion. Carrie wasn't here, but an example. There's a post about things that she had for Veterans Day in her store, menu specials. This is Eris Pizza, an example of the special they had that day. Community events and recreation. I know Small Business Saturday is coming up. I would talk with the Eastside Business Association, and we did, and they are going to have Small Business Saturday. This is a perfect opportunity to put things like that. Downtown had their sip and shop last weekend, and that was promoted and shared. It's really something that we can all contribute in. Just all the fun things to do in Jefferson City. Shop, eat, drink, and play. So the other thing, all you'll do, you'll see you have a sticker there on your flyer, is display that sticker to show your support. You can put that in your window or your car. You can see some examples of the JCMO Love What's Local sticker around town that I found, or on the vehicle. So I encourage you to take one of the flyers. If you want to have more stickers, we can provide you that. I think it's just a reminder and a positive way that we can support our community, our local businesses and our organizations to love what's local. I did mention that the business associations, we presented this at the business associations, but the media is a big supporter of this too. Mark and I think Rochelle, do you guys want to talk a little bit about kind of how you've taken this campaign that the chamber and the CBB put together and kind of oriented it for?
Sure, I passed out a flyer for you guys, and this is just something we've done in conjunction with the chamber. To help small businesses do some additional advertising. What I found pretty interesting about this is when we've all got together, just the cooperativeness of all the medias. We're each here, maybe you have a different need depending on your business, but we're all here together to help grow Jefferson City and small businesses here.
Yeah, same thing for us. We want to be a part of what's going on here, and so we're doing a lot of branding, marketing ads in our paper. We're ramping up towards the holidays and things like that. We've got some specials as well, but definitely you should take advantage of these specials if you take one of those. If you really want one, take one and move around. Definitely make sure you're using all the media. You know, of course, make sure you don't only just do print ads, do radio ads, do TV ads, do what you can this holiday season, but more importantly, promote the JCMO brand. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we need to be doing every day. Want to be a part of that. Want you guys to be a part of it. So please take advantage of what we have. Thanks.
Does anybody have any questions about the program or Mission Research Bureau or anything at Rotary? They have some great questions for Alex. Yeah.
I don't have a question, but I do have an observation. I think, first of all, thank you for what you've already done. The other thing is, speak to the newspaper as an example. There's a section that the newspaper every day that talks about the events that are going on in our community every single day now. You know, some of you probably already know, but there's a few of us. When you become retired, you don't always know everything that's going on in the community. So I think there are a number of ways that we can promote our community, and I encourage those of you who perhaps are having events to use that as a tool. And I'll be honest with you, I think this is exciting. This opportunity to, you know, to promote your business, and I'm retired, so I'm not.
It is exciting when we see the little stickers and catch one. Lori was the one that was, what were you behind the stoplight?
Yeah, I just left here and I went to go get some Panera and she ended up in front of me.
There you go. She's like,
I want to see if I can put this on my car.
Yeah, yes, and that is a removable vinyl sticker. You can have more. You can put that in your window or your vehicle and go through the car wash. And it's designed to be displayed. Right. So yeah, Jay.
Susan, and maybe it's mentioned in your bureau. We travel a lot by car and just got back from 4 or 5 days of touring Kansas, but I don't know how many times you go to a hotel to check in and you ask what's there to do, and the locals at the hotels don't know. Is there training that can be done for hotel staff to share, you know, things?
We've talked about it, because of COVID and the staffing shortages, it's hard to keep people retained at the hotels and then trying to get them to make time when they have limited time already. So it has been talked about, but it just hasn't been implemented yet.
And that was actually one of the things when we had one of our meetings at the CBB. Ashley was there and Donna Dietz was there and Diane Gillespie, that this Visit Destin. That's kind of a popular thing. That's one of the reasons we wanted to go with this Facebook group, because that's kind of something that people kind of know. Like Ashley, when her family was going to the beach, she looked for the Facebook group because you want to find the local restaurant. You say even on your website, you have a section called
just like JCMO originals, or just to say this is what we have.
Yeah, and so we're kind of hoping to kind of build on that trend that people that travel or on vacation, they'll find visit this group, and that's we were hoping this JCMO that we could tag on to that and brand it and get some of those folks that are in the hotels and maybe the hotel personnel has been trained, maybe they haven't. But if we had this sticker at the front desk, they could get the QR code, it would send them right there. And that was something that we added. The chamber had stickers like this in 2014 that we gave out at our annual meeting. But the QR code is new. It's what everybody uses. It's an easy way for people to get to that site and hopefully be informed. And the more the merrier. This is not a member or a non-member. Anyone can participate. It's just positive. Everything local, whether you're a chain or locally owned, it's just really about our community and the events in our community, because there are so many wonderful events that you can promote on this site too, not just shopping. Yeah, recreation, yeah. And those are the categories really that the CBD can promote, and we saw that as a wonderful opportunity for the chamber and the business associations to collaborate and come together, because what they're promoting, we're promoting that too. Speaking of events, does anybody have anything, an announcement around the room that they want to make? And then if you make that announcement, I want to see a post about it, so. Just saying, and you know, that was at East Side, I went and, the Cotter Pen, she announced her holiday open house, and then, whoop, by the time I got to Rotary, she had posted all of her, holiday, Christmas, open house things, and I was like, yeah, she listened to it, that was perfect.
Leadership applications are open, so it's time to apply if you're interested in that program. So get on the site and look at the application process if you're gonna apply and apply sooner rather than later.
The Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so two Tuesdays from now, the 22nd, Cumulus will be at the Hy-Vee grocery store here, our annual partnership for Hunger campaign. Stop by, drop off a can, drop off a bunch of cans, but it's a good campaign. It's a food bank.
Any other events?
City Council will have a work session Monday on parking. We'll find out about parking study for the garage and other parking issues. Be an interesting deal.
Is that 5:30?
It's also 5:30.
Remember that book sale on the main floor this weekend? Yes, that was.
Oh, yes, and our big book sale is still in March. So,
Good. Well, our next, Friday coffee will be December 9th. It'll be here. And, our presenter is Jefferson City Public Schools, Brian McGraw, right, Gary? And with Covenant Card Connected as the sponsor. So I hope you can join us. Right, you're here today. Enjoy your day today. And take your sticker. We have more stickers if you want to have just a sticker. You don't want the flyer. Thank